I think that people in parking get a bad rap, but that they think that that the money is not well used. It's not un-American to charge for parking. I think it's a very American policy to ask people to pay for what they use. To make these on-street parking prices more popular, I think you should spend the revenue in a way that makes the meter money seem socially justifiable. The first city that operated this in a big way is to spend the meter money on something that everybody can see was in Pasadena. It was a commercial skid row. People thought it would never recover, but it had wonderful buildings in terrible condition. I think some of you older people can remember when Philadelphia was a bit like that, that it was a terrific place, but it had fallen on very hard times. Most of the buildings were empty above the ground floor. Here's old Pasadena now. It's one of the most popular places to go in Southern California. Over 20,000 people on a weekend come just to wander the streets. And it happened because of parking meters with revenue return. The city wanted to put in parking meters, but the merchant said, no way, it'll chase away the few customers we have. And they said, there's not enough parking. That's the real problem. But when the city said, if we put in the meters, we'll rebuild all of your sidewalks right away. Every sidewalk will be torn out with a new sidewalk put in, with new street trees. Then the merchants said, that's different. Why didn't you tell us that before? Let's run the meters till midnight. Let's operate them on Sunday. Let's charge a high price. So it was simply the fact that they said we're going to spend the meter money on what you want most made every stakeholder say, oh, I see what you mean. And they yield more than $1 million a year. They borrowed $5 million to rebuild all the sidewalks because you can borrow against meter money. But even after rebuilding all the sidewalks, they had debt service of about $400,000 a year. They had $700,000 a year. They steam clean the sidewalks twice a month. They sweep them every night. They remove graffiti every night. There isn't any graffiti anymore. If you remove it every night, it doesn't come back. But they have extra police patrol. It is one of the most successful areas. It's like Walnut Street, except cleaner. Once the city did everything it could do to make the public sector, the public sphere better, then the private owners came through with restoring their buildings. It didn't pay to restore the buildings beforehand because the rents wouldn't justify it. But when the area became great on the sidewalk, then the property owners heavily invested in it. It's done so much for the economy just to get the price of parking right and to make it popular by spending it on public amenities. So I think these parking benefit districts, they're a transportation management tool. That's sort of why I got into it in the first place, because there's less cruising for traffic and all the negative side effects, but it's also an economic development tool. And I think it may be more important as an economic development tool than as a transportation tool. I think it's certainly much more politically powerful that people can understand that if we have parking meters, we're going to have more customers, we're going to have a cleaner neighborhood, we're going to have more people will be working here. There'll be more sales tax revenue, more property tax revenue. If old Pasadena is a harbinger, it will be a terrific benefit.